Mike Schur is fired up. He's got football takes. We've got genuine controversy in the shipping container where Tony is accusing everybody of stealing his football takes. Everyone comes in on Monday and is a little aggressive about having opinions. Everyone's got more opinions. Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Have you noticed that people have more opinions on Monday after football has saturated their Sundays? Because Tony's mad now. Billy keeps looking at Tony and saying...
He just says really obvious shit like Aaron Rodgers is good, and then he's like, I own that.
I never said Aaron Rodgers was good.
Right.
Let's stop
wow,
that.
he's saying Aaron Rodgers is not good.
I said there's something about Cooper Rush. And then Mike Schur...
something about
Cooper Rush is mine.
Do not.
I
please.
said there was something about Cooper Rush. That's
How
mine.
did you say something about Cooper Rush when I had it 3 weeks ago?
I was there.
I mean, Mike did have it 4 weeks ago in his defense.
Dude, you just had Jags are good last week. Give me a break.
I mean,
stay out of this.
This is the most pathetic thing I've ever heard. Mike Ryan trying to be 3 weeks early to the Cooper Rush take because he was there.
Yeah, bona fides.
Because he watched.
Bona fides. How many times have you watched Cooper Rush in person, bud?
Right.
Huh?
Just Mike.
0.
That's right.
Mike
Wear
was
that.
arguing with Mike Schur before we came on here. We'll get to stat of the day in a second because Mike Ryan said, I was there. I am proud that I was there watching Tampa and Kansas City with no rooting interest for a top 10 play in the career of one Patrick Mahomes. And Mike Schur yelled at him and said that will not be in the top 10 by the time that he is done because Patrick Mahomes does that every week in some way.
He won't make the highlight reel. It was on Sunday night. It was an absurd, creative play. That makes the highlight reel at the end of his career. It does.
That doesn't make the highlight reel at the end of. It might make the highlight reel at the end of this season. I will say, but I will also say that next week he'll do 3 things that are just as cool as that. The week after he'll do 3 more. He does that every week. That's just what he does. And by the way, 5 weeks ago, for the record, I said out loud to no one, keep an eye on Cooper Rush.
See?
So that take is mine.
Where'd you say it?
Oh, yeah, where did
I
you
was just
say
in
it?
my living room. I was just watching.
I
I was watching Dak warm up, and I
Doesn't
thought,
count.
if something happens to him,
It's got to be
keep
into
an
a
eye on Cooper
microphone or
Rush.
via text.
6 weeks ago, I said it to myself. So beat that, Mike Schur.
You said it.
All right,
to
it's
yourself.
yours.
Okay.
You got the
It's
take.
fine.
But now it's just dead. Now it's just dead because no one. Chris Cody's sick today, so he doesn't have the opportunity to say he was thinking about Cooper Rush all of last season.
When he was in college.
What is happening around here where people want to be so right about thinking they know something about this thing when we just watched somehow Tom Brady play great at 45 through whatever's going on in his life, and he got swamped. He got swamped because Kansas
Not
City.
his fault.
How is it possible that Kansas City doesn't miss Tyreek Hill? In what
This
world?
This isn't a stat of the day, but I read yesterday that the Lions are the first team ever to both score and give up 140 points in their first 4 games. Like the whole this is why let me say this for the record, and I know that DraftKings is the bounty that provides for us all here at Meadowlark Media. I don't understand how any of you gamble on football. It seems like the worst way to spend your time because every week you go in and you think you're like, I know 5 things for sure. I'm pretty certain about 10 others, and then the rest of it is a question mark. And without fail, the 5 that you knew don't happen. The 10 that were a question mark go the way you didn't want them to go or didn't think they would go, and the rest of it all happens exactly. It's exactly the opposite of what you think is going to happen. How do you do this?
Well, we do it poorly. Is the answer to your question?
Speak for yourself. 21-9 college football, Dan. That's a 70% clip, I believe. Thank you. I mean, Mike gave me a finger gun. Thank you, Mike.
70% is amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, if you do that for a living, you got mansions, plural.
Okay, so everybody out there it is. You've read it. If you want to have mansions, plural, bet on Stugotz's picks because he's 21-9 through 30 games. And that sample tells you that he's better at this than anyone doing it in Vegas.
You are an outstanding world-class professional gambler at 58%.
And so Stugotz is off to a very hot start, but everyone else in the world watches football and gets everything wrong.
Do not rely upon your own understanding, Mike Schur. That's how I would approach football gambling. You think to yourself, you wake up 6:30 Pacific time where you reside, you look at a London game and go, well, Andy Dalton surely can't cover against the Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings were good. I saw them in week 1. They made Aaron Rodgers look like a fool. Surely Andy Dalton will not keep them within 3 points.
Whoever the hell the Patriots played a quarterback yesterday, Zappe. You look at that. Maybe Brian Hoyer gets hurt. You look at it live and go, I'm going to take the Packers now live because Zappe's in at quarterback. Do not rely upon your own understanding.
How many people do you think, with a little bit of the bug, a little bit of the itch, got in on live in-game wagering on Zappe's in the game? I don't like his name. Bailey Zappe against Aaron Rodgers. I need not know anything else. I'm going live in-game. Here come the Packers. Surely Zappe will throw interceptions. His name is Bailey Zappe.
I imagine a ton of people, and the Patriots are brilliant in the run game. Zappe made just enough throws to move them down the field, and they took it to the last kick of the game.
I'm gonna come out and say this now because of how territorial this show has become. There's something about Zappe. There's something about Zappe.
I was the only one who knew his college statistics in the local
sorry,
hour.
You didn't
Jess
say that
has
there was
it.
something about him.
Yeah, but I
I said
texted
you were
people yesterday
disrespecting
about
the
this.
CUSA
But yes, you did. You're right, Jessica.
quarterback.
You
My
did
school's
say
a
that.
Conference USA school, so I have rights to Zappe.
But Jessica,
They beat
did you
FIU last
say?
year.
Did you say there was something about Zappe? You said yes. You told us. You informed us that we were idiots for not knowing who Bailey Zappe was. You did inform us of that. But did you say there was something about Zappe? Is that your take? Because I don't think that was your take.
I said you were disrespecting him, and he threw for 6,000 yards and 62 touchdowns and 11 interceptions last year.
You
So-
got to say there's something about
You
him.
didn't
Though.
say
It
there
doesn't
was
sound
something
like
about him.
there's
I
something.
implied it when I said all of those other things.
You can't imply
You can't imply it.
He
You gotta
sounds
say
like a
it.
character name in Point Break. Mike and I have something to announce together. We want to say it first, though. Mike, you want to say it? You want me to say it? There's
I have
something
no
off.
idea where you're going with
There's
this.
something off in Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mike Schur, that town is not big enough for Kyler Murray and Kliff Kingsbury. I'm telling you right now, there is something going on over there. There is tension on the sidelines. They're barking at each other. There's resentments and people wanting to take credit. They're not looking that good. Something's going on.
I don't think that Kyler has ever liked Kliff Kingsbury. I mean, if you go back in the history, it seems like Kliff Kingsbury has stalked him since he was an adolescent, and he's been trying to get him to go play for him in college and do all these things. And Kyler has avoided him at all costs until the NFL draft, where Kliff Kingsbury had no choice but to take him, and Kyler Murray could not leave him, and he had to go play with him. And now they're stuck together, but they've never liked each other. At least not both of them liking each other. That's just my thought.
Okay, so who's got the take of there's something going on in Arizona? Because
Me and
I
Mike
still
have it.
love watching Kyler Murray do Patrick Mahomes types things, even though when they do them poorly, they look really reckless, 4th and short on the goal line. Let's snap it over his head. Hey, Kyler's chasing it. I still expect him to do something from 34 yards away. He's just going to weave around and make something out of that, right? Even though they look super sloppy.
That 4th and 1 jet sweep too, woof, from Kliff Kingsbury. Just handing it off, and the
He's
wide
a
receiver
bad
got blown
coach.
up
He
straight
said
away.
he's a
Give me
bad
that.
coach. Wow, that's
Tony's
sure.
in on the tape,
Kingsbury.
shouted from the
Kingsbury
Start
is a
writing these
bad
down.
coach.
He's a bad
He
coach.
will be fired.
People have been saying that for years.
Hold on.
Yeah,
You didn't
Jessica,
know
I
that.
said it here
Jessica's
first.
a
Don't
real
start. Don't start with me, Jess.
Uh-oh.
Tommy
Don't start with
Topper
me.
here.
Really
Don't start
is.
with me. Kingsbury's
Wow.
gone.
You're testy, man.
He's
You gotta
gone.
chill.
He's gonna be gone soon.
Okay,
So is
everybody
Belichick.
settle down.
Belichick should be gone.
Well,
I mean,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
I love it.
Got
No,
it
keep
out
it coming.
first.
There you
you can
go.
have
Got
that
it out
one.
first.
There it
I
is.
said it last
All
week.
right, I
Got
said
it
it.
out
Why
first.
is,
Sorry,
why is
buddy.
Mike Schur laughing and dismissing all of us? You said that wasn't a highlight reel play from Patrick Mahomes.
No,
you
I
had the
said it
most
was
ridiculous take.
it was a great play. Saying it won't be in the top 10 of by the end of the year. And let me say this, by the way, for the record. Here's my take. The Bill, as a connoisseur of Bill Belichick football, he hasn't been happy in 4 years. Yesterday at Lambeau, when his backup, 35-year-old boring backup, goes down, and he's got to throw a 4th-round pick from Western Kentucky into the line of fire
Now we're
against
cooking
Aaron
with
Rodgers
gas.
on the road, and he's like, all I got is my run game and a 4th-rounder from Western Kentucky. That's the first time that guy's been happy since 2018.
Yep.
And when the Packers punted the ball down and they downed it at the 2, and Bailey Zappe is running out onto the field with like 2 minutes left, like tie game at Lambeau. That's the first time Bill Belichick has felt alive since the last Super Bowl win.
I'll go a step further. the last Super Bowl, because he's won 100 of them, left him feeling a little dead inside because
Yeah,
he hated
he was
Tom
bored.
and he
Yeah.
didn't
Right.
like the Bob
Another
Kraft
one
thing.
with Tom,
and
jeez.
I'd say that was better for him yesterday than like 5 of the championships, just because of what
I think you're right.
You know,
No, if he won the game, he ended up losing.
no,
Had he won,
no,
I agree.
No,
I-
even
no.
losing the game. Did you see them after the
Yes.
game? They were like hugging each other. He was like patting Matt Patricia on the
no,
back.
and
Like
and
he
the
hasn't
quotes-
been happy.
and
That's the first time he's been happy in 4 years.
Mike Schur is so right about this, but I'm saying it's even happier than he was at the end of 4 years, because whatever was happening with Brady had to be unpleasant. And yesterday he goes out there, and did you hear the quotes? Oh, what am I going to
No.
do? That was just Aaron Rodgers being amazing at the end. Like, what are you going to do? It was just Aaron being Aaron. He beat me with my running game and Zappe.
I almost beat him with Zappe.
I almost beat him with Zappe.
I need Zappe to start another game. I enjoy saying this
Oh, he'll
person's
get another
name.
one,
There's
Mike.
something
Oh, he will.
about Zappe.
Oh, he will.
Yep.
I've
They
done,
I remember thinking in the Randy Moss year, the year that they broke every record, the perfect regular season, the 18-0 year, that was the least happy Bill Belichick's ever been, because he doesn't want to win that way. He wants to win with Bailey Zappe, 4th-round pick from Western Kentucky. He wants to win with a fullback
Larry
from Rutgers,
Izzo,
getting
Troy Brown,
58 yards on 14 carries.
Burkhead.
That
Yeah,
first Super
yes,
Bowl with
that's-
Brady was perfect because he was a
Amendola.
6th-round
Yes.
pick. Then he became great.
Yes.
It got boring. Yes.
And
right.
17-14 is how he wants to win every
Yes.
game, or 10-7. And yesterday, when it was at the end of the first half, Hoyer's out, Bailey Zappe's in, right before the half, pick 6 to put them up 10-7. That's how he went into that locker room feeling alive.
Shocking. I mean, the pick 6. I maintain that getting a pick 6 on Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau, that Bill Belichick, if you asked him the truth, would have retired right then.
It's a win.
Yeah, I
Right
think
then,
you're
would have retired. I'm up 10-7 at the half. That's it. Enshrine me. I'm out of here. I'm not coming out for the second half.
should've quit.
Patricia, you got it. At the very end, Aaron Rodgers. Do you know how much I just pissed Aaron Rodgers off? He never throws picks, and he just threw a pick 6. They're booing him at halftime. They were booing him.
Yes. He threw a pick 6 to a rookie. It's only the second pick 6 he's ever thrown at home. And you're right. Belichick should have walked in, scribbled "I resign" on a napkin, like when he resigned from the Jets, threw it at Matt Patricia's face and walked out.
So I've done an accounting, I believe, of all the takes that we've had in this segment.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Schur has staked the corner. There's something about Cooper Rush. He said it to himself on the couch 6 weeks ago.
He
Yeah, but it
hasn't
doesn't
seen him in
count.
person.
It doesn't count.
Doesn't matter.
He said it to himself on the couch 6
No
weeks ago.
witnesses. I mean,
Mike Schur also said this is the happiest Belichick has been in 4 years. Mike Ryan said there's something about Bailey Zappe. Stu and Mike combined to say something is off in Arizona.
Good teamwork.
Billy has said that Bill Belichick should be gone. And Tony has said that Kirk Cousins is the quarterback I'd want with 2 minutes
Well,
or
no,
less
hold
in
on.
a football
I
game.
also have the Arizona
Corrections.
take.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury's
Oh,
fire.
he
He's
the
the
bank
bank
coach.
coach.
I think
he's
got him.
What
And-
about
and-
Jessica? She staked
Falls under
her
our
claim to
umbrella.
like 6 of those.
Bailey Zappe was good in college.
Yeah, she owns that. It's
Yeah.
if you look at the stats, by the way, real golden age in Hilltopper football going on right now.
yeah.
Well, the way that college football has changed, why can't they be one of the best teams?
He won the Boca Raton.
Did you?
Bowl.
I'm watching the Liberty game. You guys see the catch? I'm like, oh, wait, really? Liberty, right? A guy's going to be in the end zone. He's just going to reach up and grab the ball with one hand and just catch a 60-yard pass at Liberty.
Those gloves shouldn't be allowed.
What are you doing?
I just write that down. Those gloves shouldn't be allowed
That's
anymore.
another one.
It's too easy
Good
to make
take.
catches with those gloves.
I'm with you. They're too sticky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They
we
couldn't
don't
be
like
used in any
seeing
other
good
context.
catches.
Yeah. Why
Good
do we
catches
want good
stink,
catches?
right?
Yeah, no.
Fans
Yeah,
are-
why do we want highlight reel plays all the
I
time?
don't like
That's-
it.
Go back to the
Yeah.
old days
Hey,
when
can I
receivers used to
say-
play barehanded.
Can I say one thing?
No.
I just want to say one thing real quick. There's something interesting brewing in Detroit.
No.
Wow.
Stop.
He's right about that.
No,
He's
no,
right
no.
about
No,
that.
stop
No,
on
no,
that
he's
one.
right
You
about
owns
that.
it.
He
That
owns
one
it.
earlier.
Tony
can't-
has been saying
Yeah.
stuff about that back since Hard Knocks, so
I mean,
Yes.
everybody was betting Dan Campbell Coach of the Year, 22%
No one,
on DraftKings.
but no one has said yet that something interesting is brewing
You-
there.
you
That's
also-
the point.
They play the same game every week. I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
Just saying.
Yep. I think Pete Carroll has to be coach of the year. No? I said it. I own it. Geno Smith, they're 2-2.
2 monster wins over the Broncos
Yep.
and Lions. How
Thank
can you
you.
take that away from him?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think we're entering his last decade as coach. I'm saying that right now.
I love Stugotz with a straight face. Come on, he's coach of the year. They're 2-2.
Who had Seattle at 2-2 with Geno Smith?
Stat of the day. Let's get to Mike Schur's stat of the day.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
The stat of the day is presented by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Congratulations to the Seattle Mariners, who clinched their first playoff spot in 21 years. To give you an idea of how long ago it was, they clinched their last playoff spot on September 19th, 2001, when Albert Pujols was a 21-year-old rookie. Then, Albert Pujols played 2,931 games, got 3,200 hits, 643 doubles, 666 home runs, made the playoffs 9 times, had 19 more home runs in 352 postseason plate appearances, won 2 rings, announced he was retiring from baseball, and then the Mariners clinched another playoff spot.
That's a long time, man.
Stat of the day is courtesy of Joel Luckhopt on Twitter.
Stolen stat of the day. He's getting slightly lazier about this. Do you mind if we go forward? I would love for you to have also a Brett Favre outrage of the day. Because
great.
Yes, no, I know you. he wants to get fired, but he's like, on this one, you know what? On this one, I'll work for free. So if you want to set us up with the latest Brett Favre outrage of the day, feel free to workshop this right now.
I don't even know what the latest one was because it seems like there is a new revelation I've lost track, honestly. What was the most recent one?
Oh no, it's just more and more money. It's just deeper and deeper, more and more people resigning, and it seems like it's headed toward inevitable consequences for Favre.
Yeah, shifting philanthropic funds to an athletic department, which personally I don't see anything wrong with.
The Mississippi Today folks, including Anna Wolf, who you've had on a few times, put together over the weekend an official timeline of the whole thing. I retweeted it, and you can go read just like boom, boom, boom. Here's all of the things that happened in the order they happened in, and it is really shocking when you just lay it out, and the way that Favre is asking, specifically going to the governor, Phil Bryant, and asking over and over again and being like, hey, man, at one point, it's so corny and cringy. He's like, you're our starting QB. You got to come through for us. Like, he's using all this corny, like, football, like, metaphor language to try to get.
I said that last week.
She did. She owns that.
She did
Great.
say that last week.
I'm not gonna fight you on this. Isn't funny anymore. I'm not gonna fight you on takes about a welfare scandal.
It was the Mississippi Free Press that put together the timeline. It is
Thank you.
so long. You know when you're scrolling a long wiki page and your scroll is like tiny? That's how tiny the scroll is because there is so much detail and so many things.
A lot of
it
reporting.
Just keeps going.
Yes, there's going to be the real injustices happen in a place, Stugotz, where there isn't. Never mind just the poverty levels, but the drinking water has been a problem for a while. The idea that Brett Favre's native son would be stealing that actively from poor people is going to be a scandal that deserves to stay in the news for a while because the reporting keeps going on it. It keeps getting worse, and people are resigning all over the place to get away from
Jess
it.
has been scrolling as fast as she possibly can for 30 seconds and is still not at the bottom of this report.
Mike, on serious subject matter, one of the things that happened this weekend, Antonio Brown in Dubai being caught on video wildly inappropriate with a woman in a pool, caught, it would appear on video, masturbating in public in a pool, his bare ass in Dubai, trying to put it on a woman's face. The reports are that they were horrified. The Antonio Brown story at this point How many different weird, strange things are going to make an appearance before we can clinically diagnose somebody as either just a world-class jerk and asshole or somebody who's got that football has messed up his mind? Like, where am I supposed to land on that spectrum?
I don't know. I didn't click on any of those links when I saw his name come up. I decided, whatever that is, I don't want to. I'm learning about this from you right now because I decided I didn't want to investigate it anymore. And this is the problem, I think, with especially football players. It is impossible for us to diagnose what has gone wrong with them. We don't know anything about them, and yet we have a massive amount of evidence that the sport that they played causes permanent damage that can lead to distressing behavior. And so the temptation is always to say, oh, he's got CTE, or, oh, he's clearly not right in the head. But that is not responsible. It's not responsible for anyone to speculate that way because we have no idea. And this is yet another way that this is when we watch Tua and we have a long discussion about Tua the next day, and then 20 minutes into that discussion, we're all just like, I mean, look at their schedule. I think they can really hang in there.
That
with
was
a
Chris
backup.
Cody. That was Chris Cody who did that. He was talking about Bridgewater and was telling Xavier Howard either suck it up and play or get off the field. He ended at the 21-minute mark of showing great concern for Tua. He was right there. Hey, we're 3-1 after a month. I don't care about anybody. What's happening with their bodies?
And this is the problem: is that with all serious aspects of the game, the way the game affects the players, the way the injuries affect the players, long term, short term, we will just observe it for 4 minutes and then turn away and go back to talking about Bailey Zappe.
Thank you for being on with us. He looked
looks
great.
good,
there was
though.
something
Yeah,
about
really
it. There was
does.
something about
Hey,
it.
hey,
that's mine.
It was amazing.
Hey, that's
I
mine.
kind of wanted it.
Hilltoppers.
I feel like I said it first.
I said
I feel
that.
like you didn't even know his name. It can't be yours. You weren't even watching the game. You're
Sure
like,
can. I said it first.
You didn't
That's the
even know.
rules.
No, you didn't even know that Hoyer.
Mike didn't even
what
say it.
happened
He
to
thought
Hoyer?
to himself. You
And this
let
is
him keep going.
unbelievable. Tony's right, man. All of you guys are thieves. Tony, where are you with this? Thank you, Mike. Good talking to you. We appreciate it as always.
Check out podcast.
Yes, please check out the podcast. He and Joe Posnanski. One of them is a great writer, and the other is Mike Schur. So check out the podcast.
Whoa.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Good talking to you.
There's something brewing in Detroit, boys.
You mentioned that. Posnanski had it first. Thank you. The podcast with Mike Schur. We didn't even ask him about Tyler Hero. But Tony, what are your latest allegations being sent toward the room? Because you claim everyone here is stealing your stuff.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people stealing takes around here. I heard Mike say something about the Jets. I was on the Jets like a month ago. Like, there's just a lot of stuff that I don't like.
No,
happening
What do you
around
mean
here.
on the Jets?
No. I've been telling you about the Jets for a long time.
Oh, please.
Since
Ask Chris
last
Cody.
year.
Ask
Right.
Chris Cody.
No, that's my take. That's not.
I mean, Mike has, he's been telling me since last year how good the surrounding cast is.
Yeah.
If I have a quarterback, I'll be pretty good.
I physically picked his
In his
chin up.
defense.
Please.
Chin
Yes.
up.
Please. Tell me about this year. Okay,
Right.
last year was
Fair.
last year.
Yeah.
This is this year. Okay, I told Chris Cody at the beginning of the season when we did our Dolphins preview, I said the Jets have a better roster, top to bottom, than the New England Patriots.
You know what? I'm over this whole thing. You guys can have it all. You guys can have all
Thank you,
your
Mike.
takes,
Thank you.
but you get the appropriate shame when it doesn't pan out. None
That's
of
fine.
this, none of this shit. Like,
fine.
if you
No,
go,
he's
you don't go
shameless.
hiding under a rock the next Kirk Cousins primetime
No,
game.
absolutely not.
I'm gonna be looking for you.
Good.
Do you have your 5 things?
I do have my top
So
5
we
here,
can get
actually.
to
And the
that
Jets
way,
never
'cause
pan
that's
out.
what
We'll
it
get
is.
to the 5 things, but you can't say Kirk Cousins is the guy that you want more than any other in the league with 2 minutes left in
Dan,
the
that's
game.
my opinion, though. That's my opinion. He is so good in late game situations,
Yep.
and it continues every week. We
You
have to do the
trust him
same
more than
thing every
anyone.
week.
You
Yes,
trust
At
him more than
3:30 on a
More than
Sunday
Josh
afternoon.
Allen.
Yes.
It
More
was a
than-
hell of a throw to Jefferson. It was a hell
Great
of a
throw.
More than
And
Lamar
yes.
Jackson, more than Patrick Mahomes, more than Tom Brady, more than Justin Herbert, more than Russell Wilson. I mean, come on, guys.
You guys trust Pro Fantasy Football Focus, right?
Say
Is
that
that what
again?
it's
Who's
called?
that? Who's that? Nope. Not
No.
at
You
all.
had an
Yeah.
extra. You had an extra
Pro
F
Football
there.
Focus.
Had
Pro
a
Football
PFF.
Focus. I don't know why I made it fantasy.
PFF.
Geno Smith, according to Pro Football Focus, is the highest graded quarterback in the NFL, ahead of Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Tua, and Jacoby Brissett.
Well,
Josh
before-
Allen sucks.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. That's too
What are you
strong.
doing?
That's too strong.
Now, every time I have him in fantasy on this daily fantasy thing we do for DraftKings, he shits the bed for me. He sucks. I'm getting tired of him.
Okay,
Get
that's
it together.
not good. That is not good
Stephon
analysis.
Diggs also
You
shit
can
the
have
bed
that
yesterday.
It was
Terrible.
pouring rain.
No, oh please, the real ones do it in the rain. Okay, everybody
Who
knows
does
that.
it in the rain?
Everybody
Brady.
does it in the rain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They were down 20 and he came back and won.
No, please. He got me like 18 points. Horrible week for him again. And by the way, if you want to compete against us, dkng.co/lebatard.
Yeah.
Damn, we sold out on Friday before we even announced it. So it's
Amazing.
been up this week.
It's because it's got such an easy to pronounce name. Everybody, it's catching
Everybody
fire.
knows.
You're a bit obnoxious here when you say that Josh Allen sucks because that's not a take anybody has.
I'll own
However,
it.
However, something I did want to talk about as Baltimore could very easily be 4-0. They look amazing. Lamar Jackson looks amazing. The decision to go for it on 4th down, Stugotz.
Terrible job.
Well, okay.
Dan, I don't care about the math, okay? The game is tied. You have the best kicker. Your defense is playing well because at that time, I think Buffalo only had 17 points, something like that. So your defense is playing well against a very good offense. You have the best kicker in the history of the game. It's a tie game. Go up 3 and let your defense do what they've been doing all afternoon.
And you can play it that way. I'd prefer to play against I'd prefer to trust my most valuable player, who's very hard to stop, and I prefer
Tucker. You're talking about, right?
I would prefer to trust that that the league shift to when we're close, we'll try for 7 instead of 3 and make the team. If we miss, we'll make the team go 97 yards. But I want to address what Billy's saying about Josh Allen. And I know Mike's got strong opinions on Buffalo in general, but Buffalo now, with a lot of hurt players, has has crawled to looking very impressive. And they beat Baltimore yesterday. But what I wanted to ask you in the assessment of Josh Allen is this. The one loss on their resume, and when you look at Pro Football Focus, they do a very good job of examining this. He had, and again, it was a weird game, 73 dropbacks, all of that. But he had like 5 interceptable passes, 2 that could have gone for pick sixes, that it could have been like a disaster game if the Dolphins had they would have been great play. One of them, certainly by Phillips, would have been a great play. But still, they were interceptable passes, and 3 of them were in the 4th quarter. And I ask you guys, when it comes to Josh Allen, because he's so big, because I fear him so much, just running, I fear he's going to get on 3rd and 4, the 5 yards. But he's still kind of reckless, isn't he? Like he still does. He's got such a giant arm that he trusts, and he should, that he's more reckless than most of the guys like Mahomes who play like him, correct?
If you look at his numbers from Pro Football Focus, they have a metric called turnover-worthy plays. Towards the second half of last season, he almost entirely cut it out of his game. 1, maybe 2, a few zeros in there. And this year, that Miami game was the outlier. If you look at his turnover-worthy plays, 1 against the Rams, 1 against the Titans, none against the Ravens, and 6 against the Dolphins. 6 turnover-worthy plays, I don't believe any of which were converted into interceptions by the Dolphins. So it is somewhat of an outlier. But yesterday was kind of a bizarre game for them, and going down 20-3, they seem to go down a fair bit.
I came away super impressed with Josh Allen yesterday. They had injuries to the receiving core. Gabe Davis has not been right since week 1. Guy can't catch a ball
Drops
clean.
the ball a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the conditions weren't good over there. Their running game is putrid over there. They may have found something with passing the ball to Singletary. He's proven himself to be a good receiver of the football. But if you've seen what they're calling, what Ken Dorsey is calling at the end of games, it's just Josh Allen, do it for us. There was that crucial 4th down play where you thought Josh Allen might try to force the ball in there, and he didn't necessarily have an angle, but he was so agile that he escaped the tackle attempts, and his big body fell forward, and they got the 1st down. That's just all Josh. Go out there and win it for us. Coming back on the road in those conditions without your weapons where they should be anyways, with 0 running game, with them daring you to go be Josh Allen and beat us, and you still do. Are you just allergic to me gas bagging?
This is what happens. She's got a timer. She
Yeah,
does
I like
have a
that. Now I'm
timer.
played off.
She has.
That was a big one.
I believe that
yeah.
Jessica, very often, when you've gone 45 seconds at 1.8 speed of cocaine football analysis, I believe Jessica has a timer in her head that makes her sneeze so that everything stops.
Do you not have a mechanism for stifling sneezes?
Not when
like
they're
go
that big.
go into the
Not when
go
they're
into
that
the
big.
sleeve
Now when Mike is
here.
talking so much.
You've been stifling that one for a while, it seemed like,
It was,
right?
yeah, it was on the top of my
Will
nose.
we see it? We will.
soon
Will
as
we
Mike
see
opened
it
his
move
mouth.
around your face? Will we see the itching move around your face as you try to muzzle it before it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It was underneath my eye for a minute, moved down into my lower sinus cavity,
Okay.
and then came out.
Well,
of
It
my
was
nose.
ready to go.
Well, don't,
Yeah.
like I know where Dan was going with all of this, and he was teasing Tony's top 5. I can't let you forget.
I'm gonna get to it. I'm not. I don't mean to get too far from it, and I don't like what's happening around here. But before we get to the top 5 that you are now promising, I just want
down.
Billy specifically to know the following, because
Hey.
we are watching this sport, and we still every week the opposite thing happens, and we analyze it, and we think we know something, and Stugotz does because he's an amazing 21-9.
Thank you.
But next gen stats, okay. Next Gen Stats has, and I've got this top 5 before we get to Tony's top 5. Top 5 highest ball hawk rates.
Oh, wow.
Highest ball hawk rates. Are you ready?
I love a ball hawk.
He's trying to take all the air out of your top 5.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Well, by the way, we should describe what ball hawk rate is. I believe it is pass breakups plus
What do you mean?
interceptions.
What do you,
get it.
No,
We get
what
what
do
a
you mean?
ball
what
hawk
do you
is.
mean?
Yeah,
What do you
we know
mean?
what
We
it
have
is.
to describe what it means. What the hell are you
test, buddy.
talking about?
Jesus Christ.
What do you
I
mean?
test
Pass-
buddy is
ball hawk.
exactly
Pass,
right.
pass
Jeez.
breakup plus
You don't-
interceptions
you don't-
divided by
what are
passes
you
to
talking
defense.
about?
Ball.
He's
He's
divided.
divided.
This is not math.
Division.
Minka
Ugh.
Fitzpatrick.
What's
I
the
mean,
matter with you? You think so, but
Byron
he's
Murphy.
OLI, my friend.
Get outta
He
here.
is OLI.
He dropped one this weekend. I mean, he had
yeah,
one.
but
and
he
then
was
dropped
around it.
one.
He was hawking.
Yes,
I mean,
but which part are you not understanding as you try to bring your math here, math boy? It's ball hawk.
Nerd.
It's ball hawk rate. Say it again. What you think it is?
It's not what I think it is. What it
No,
is.
no, no, no,
it's
no.
not. What do you
it's not
think
what
it is?
Pass
It's-
breakups
yes,
plus
it's ball hawk
interceptions
rate is what it is.
divided by passes
It's
defended.
Ball hawk
Whatever.
rate.
Vision? I
Which
mean, what are
part
we
of this are
doing?
you not
I mean,
understanding?
divide.
Number 5, Darius Slay of the Eagles.
Oh, he's good. He's an Eagle?
Oh, he's good. You got that in the wrong order.
I know. I thought he was a Lion still.
Number 4, Steven Nelson of the Texans. Number 3, J.C. Horn of the Panthers.
Clay hasn't been on the line since 2019.
Really? Any stops between Detroit and
Number 2, Dave Jackson of the Bills. Football expert, 21-9
Not a
against
one.
the spread.
That's right.
No
No, thanks so
stops in
much.
between.
But-
And number 1,
Direct
Xavier Howard.
Oh wow.
And the difference between Howard and Slay is large. It's 28% for Howard. Ball hawk rate, 23% for the aforementioned Slay. 21-9, Stugotz is. Go ahead and follow his picks. They are the picks that will bring you a great deal of money
Yeah.
because he bets.
He's more of a college expert than NFL.
I'm doing decent with the NFL
Yeah,
though.
not bad. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm having a good season. I am. It's gonna fall apart very soon.
Tony's top 5 observations from the weekend. We will get to Stugotz's weekend observations here in a moment. We'll get to funniest thing from the sports weekend in a moment. But here they are. Billy, are you?
I'm writing them down. I'm here
Okay,
with
you're
pen and
writing them
pad.
I
down.
got it
So
too.
where are you with this
Gotta
though?
make sure.
Because you've been very
I'm right here,
you've
man.
been divisive when it comes to Tony. I don't know what I'm being confused consistently by what your relationship is with
I'm a
him.
wild card.
You
Yeah,
seem
he
to
is.
like him a great deal, but you seem to undercut him at every turn,
I
whatever he's
tolerate him,
doing
yeah,
around
he's
here.
fine.
It's like a big brother, little brother thing.
Yeah.
I also have my top 5 ball hawks of all time.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
wow.
That's exciting.
Is this
Wow.
what's your algorithm for that?
You know
Give
when
me
you
your
s-
numbers.
You know when you see it.
I
we'll
test,
know when
yeah,
I
I
like
test,
it.
buddy.
Yeah.
No, well, I think
I
got
test
2 of
divided
them.
by fire in the
you
gut.
can't help yourself whenever I do these things.
I think I want Mike's first, to be
I got
honest. with
two
you.
Yeah,
of
let's do
them.
Mike's first. I
Yeah.
like I want
All
to
right,
hear Mike's.
number
Dion better be
5.
on that
Number
list.
5. Well, you know he is. Number 5.
Prime time.
Mhm.
Number 4.
Dick, Night Train, Lane.
Really?
Attaboy.
That's a
Yeah.
stunner. This is
Yeah.
a Mad Dog.
Good
This
one.
felt like a Mad Dog one that you just
Very strange
read
way
there.
to start that. The diction on that was very bizarre.
Whittingham, do me a favor. Just tell me how big. Look up at the dimensions of Dick Night Train Lane. I just want to know how big he was.
Look up how big is Dick?
Number 3.
Rod Woodson.
Good one.
It's not even going to be the highest Steeler. Number 2.
It's not even the highest Woodson. Charles Woodson.
Wow.
6'1", 194 on Night Train Lane.
We're going to all agree on this one.
No,
we're gonna
we're all, and that means that OLI has the Steeler that you were thinking of. I really wanted to put Polamalu on there, but I couldn't disrespect Dick Night Train Lane.
That's ridiculous. No pun intended.
I think it was.
How many times? How many Dick Night Train Lane songs do you know? Huh?
Number 1.
Not sure if I know what he
Dick
looks
Night
like.
Train Lane's career began in 1952.
Yep.
Well,
I mean, to be
original
fair,
Ballhawk.
yeah. did lead the NFL in interceptions with 14 in 1952. His
do me a
rookie
favor.
year.
Look up interceptions for Dick Night Train Lane and then Troy Polamalu. He was a different type of ball hawk. But when you're a hawk and you're hawking, you're usually doing it in the secondary.
How many field goals did he block?
Troy Polamalu, excellent player. And Bob Sanders, if he stayed healthy, might have found
Bob
himself
Sanders
onto the OLI
is a
too.
good one.
It was a golden era for safeties back then. Number 1, you know it.
Ed.
Reed.
Attaboy.
I mean, it's not even close.
Yep. Dick Night Train Lane played 157 games, had 68 interceptions, and had 1,207 interception return yards.
Respect Dick.
Think about that.
Respect
Right.
him.
Tony, are you ready to give us your top 5 football?
6 tutties.
Dan, I was born ready.
Oh, why does he have such better imaging here?
All right, top 5 for week 4. We're going to start in a place that I haven't really mentioned this team at all, but I'm going to mention something to you guys. I'm going to be here for. What do you mean?
You have this like spread out amongst like 4 pads and sheets of paper.
Well, no, because I got one written down here, but then Stu also writes down all of my top 5s from every week. Yeah, which he's going to do there.
Can I
He's got all of
in
these.
defense of Tony here, because this is just such an impossible spot
We
we
already
put
need
him
to
in
defend him. He hasn't
every
even
week.
started
Well, I'm
yet.
just going to tell you why, though, because there's not a lot of room around here on Mondays, and everyone comes in here gas bagging. And so he's got these he's doing reams of studying. Like he's actually and Stugotz is like coming over and is like, what? What do you mean? Darius Slay.
Hey, stop interrupting the top 5.
Yeah.
21-9.
Number 5.
Number 5. The Giants are frauds.
Wow.
But there's a but. Saquon Barkley, he's back.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're totally frauds. You have them being totally frauds.
They're absolutely fraudulent. I love Brian Daboll as a coach, but their team is fraudulent. They have no wide receivers. Their offensive line's not that good. Their defense is okay. Daniel Jones kind of sucks. But Saquon Barkley, boys and girl, is back.
Got it.
Number 4.
Number 4 is something that Mike Schur alluded to earlier. It's a spoiler in Tony's top 5. And I have it here written this was from yesterday.
But he said it first.
He said
did
something
say it
different
first.
first, though. He
Well,
said
he
something
did say
different.
it
What I'm going to
first.
say is the first time it's going to be said here.
I don't know what. Okay. What?
Number 4, sorry haters. Lions are fun.
Oh, sorry.
They're a
haters,
fun team.
liars, and Lions are
Yeah,
fun.
I don't care if they go 2-15. Not the point. The point is they're a fun team, and I want to watch them every single time. They didn't even have him on Ross St. Brown yesterday.
Our defense stinks.
The Sun God.
I mean, he's watching tape.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching offense, Woody. What are we doing here?
Jessica, why did you
Sorry, haters.
Yeah, sorry, haters.
cringe there? Sorry, haters.
Sorry, haters.
The haters are pissed. I had to tell them sorry. Number 3. Kind of feels like Brady should have retired, right?
Oh.
It kind of felt like that last night.
He was the better quarterback last night.
Had one of the best games of his career. I like
Be
to take.
careful. I care about you.
Because White fumbled the opening kickoff
Be
and it was essentially a
careful.
14-point.
Oh,
There was something.
no.
He was great. He was walking around the sideline when he hurt his shoulder. He was probably like, man.
He wanted to throw that tablet again. I said half an hour ago. He had to restrain himself. He wanted to throw that tablet again.
I will say in Tony's defense, though, if some of the reporting, and people are prying around in their private life, but if some of the reporting is right on however uncomfortable a division in his life football has been, he may actually be thinking that on the worst days. He may be thinking, like, what did I do this for? This is so hard. Mahomes is so young, and the Chiefs, my guys are all hurt, and the Chiefs.
I can't outscore this guy.
I can. I'm great still, but what was that? What did he do at the goal line? What was that? Then he flipped the ball up there. Mike is like, I was present for one of the great moments of all time, and Mike Schur is like, won't be in his top 10. by the end of the year.
Brady just plunges that in.
I always wanted to know what the quarterbacks said to each other after the games, and we actually got the mic'd up sound, and all I heard was Tom Brady say, "Keep it up, kid." And that was it. I always wondered, like, those always seem like such momentous occasions. I imagine those have to be the most boring conversations in the world, right? They don't say anything to each other.
Well, I don't know. I'd be curious what it is that Josh
Keep in
Allen
touch.
and
Wags.
Tua said to each other when they were draped on each other. Number two.
Fun.
Told you guys something about Cooper Rush. That was, again, I had that as another
for the
top
love
5
of God.
from another week.
For the love of
but
God.
he's undefeated as a starter. I mean, when did I have it?
Yeah, you have the list.
Hold
When
on,
did you say
give me a
it?
sec.
You tell Dak to take all the time he needs, Tony.
Dak's supposed to come back this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No, he
take all
says he's
the time he
rushing
needs.
to come back week 5. I wonder why.
Well, real quick,
something
though.
about Cooper Rush.
Instead of Cooper Rush, how about we just call it on Wentz, right? Those are good skill guys
Ooh,
in
yeah.
Washington.
No, that's a
yes?
good call, Dan.
Those
Yeah.
are good skill guys in Washington. We all know those are good skill guys in Washington. That's Wentz. Hey, I wonder what football does to the human body.
Yeah, you know what, Dan? You're right, because I'm gonna switch number 2. Obviously, everybody knows about Cooper Rush and Kirk Cousins at this point, but I'm gonna put Wentz's dust.
Wait a minute.
But Dan said it first.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm gonna
said
give
it
credit to
first.
Dan, but I'm gonna change my number 2. Wentz's dust.
That being said, that one touchdown that he threw, the fade to the corner of the end zone to Dotson, was a flawless pass.
He's so
it's like,
good
how are
sometimes.
you capable of
But
this?
everyone in the sport is capable of it. Everyone in the sport, Cooper Rush, everyone. Bailey Zappe, everyone. They're all throwing a Logan Thomas.
Bailey said.
Number one, you're number one.
Number 1, Dan, is exciting.
What was the one that you scratched out?
Well, number
They
1
had
was
like
That was
2B.
told you about Cooper Rush.
told you about Cooper Rush. Yeah. Something
I
about
told
Cooper
you
Rush
so.
was
He
a couple
replaced
weeks
it with
ago.
Wentz's dust.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Thank you, Stu. Thank you for paying attention.
Well, I write these things down.
Yeah, attaboy. Number 1, one I'm really excited about, and somebody had alluded to it. I think it might have been Stugotz. They wrote Geno off. He didn't write back.
Well, that's his take. Now, he was at that
Yeah,
take
but
first.
it becomes my take because you know what? Seahawks, not that bad.
It did not make
Yeah.
sense what Geno Smith said that they had written him
Oh,
off,
Dan, it
but
made
he
sense.
didn't write back.
Dan, are you kidding me? That
It
made so much
perfect
sense.
Right.
To
On a
Stugotz's
primetime
pointer,
game? Oh.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I lose, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is.
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now.
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go. Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Need a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but bannings.
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and limb for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stafford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What you say, Tom Brady, always down. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip, holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the playoffs.
Ah, the playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. The gridiron. Win or go home. The ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you.
Big Ben's last game, Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer. I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the
The playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye. Even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end. Mantles taken. Last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like
playoffs, the playoffs. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Chris Whittingham's analysis is pretty strong when he says Bailey Zappe and Andy Dalton covered yesterday. And this is the ominous part. I think it should be echoey and it should be a haunting sound that plays across all of America's NFL pregame shows.
I went biblical in your ass.
This sentence: do not rely on your own understanding.
Don't rely on your own understanding. And Dan, you and I have been going back and forth on this for 4 weeks when I tell you to take the Houston Texans to cover. Now, they didn't. But the Los Angeles Chargers did their damnedest to try and allow the Houston Texans to cover that game. But don't rely upon your.
No, but I told
when you look at a line and go, Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, Brian Hoyer, who gets injured, and then Bailey Zappe. Surely they will cover the 9.5. Do not rely upon your own understanding.
Stugotz.
That's how football gambling works.
Had Hoyer stayed in that game, though, the Packers cover. I do believe that. Zappe got in the way of the cover. He did.
I think so.
Yes.
Just when you think you know the sport, it changes the question.
Well, again, yes, you might not rely on your understanding. Stugotz is going to rely on his, and his understanding is that Darius Slay is not with the not with the Eagles.
It's been a while too.
I think he's with the Eagles, not with the Lions.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah, like this was before mass.
You worked at ESPN.
Forgive me here because there are a number of things that I want to get to that are football related. They are plentiful, and I want to start with Mike's Tampa Bay Kansas City experience. Though you've been selling your fandom. You have not made any decisions on where it is that you want to go.
I think I've made a decision. I like this a lot because I don't carry the L's of a team letting me down. I saw that Browns game once again, felt nothing other than a little confused when I'm on the over why Kevin Stefanski doesn't run QB sneaks with the second best QB sneak artist of all time in Jacoby Brissett. But I'm really enjoying these big game atmospheres. Unfortunately, the game took a turn as soon as that kid fumbled the opening kickoff return. That was basically a 14-point swing. But there is something goosebump inducing about seeing Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady on the same field, seeing Travis Kelce, who I thought yesterday was the best player on that football field. These are Hall of Fame talents. And I've been watching a lot of bad football. I really like the Sunday ticket experience, but to actually go to a game in these cathedrals of sport and watching these all-time gladiators who are perfecting this position, it's really opened my eyes to something. Ever since I booked like all these big games that I've been going to, the one that I circled on the calendar said that I was most excited for was I really want to embrace the Buffalo experience. And I'm looking most forward to Bills Packers. By the way, someone asked me this yesterday about the Buffalo team, and I realized that my life has been full of shit when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. What is a Buffalo Bill? Do you know what the Buffalo Bills are named after? I had always assumed because of the logo, maybe a bill is like that horn part of a buffalo. No, they are actually named after the frontiersman, Buffalo Bill. Did you know that?
No, so they are plural. They are all frontiermen.
They are named after a frontierman.
A guy named
It's a guy named Bill.
A guy named William.
Yeah,
This is who like half of Greg Cody's characters are named after.
Yeah, it just sounds good. Apparently, the origin is the owner just put it up to vote, and the fans got behind Bill because it sounds kind of cool, and it does. And we refer to them casually as Bills. Their logo is a buffalo. We didn't think anything of it. Their logo should just be a human being.
Named William.
Yeah, they're named after a famous person, Buffalo Bill.
Whittingham, do you not believe me when I tell you I would rather lose money than bet on Andy Dalton to win? I would rather lose money than have to rely on Davis Mills to not hit Brandon Cooks 5 times for 19 yards.
22 of 27 for 154 yards after 2 quarters.
I'd rather lose my money than bet on. I'm not kidding you. There are like 9 quarterbacks. I'm not going to bet on the Bears this season.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually like the Texans going into that, and I stayed away in part because I just didn't want to pay attention to it.
If I'm going to watch it, I want to watch them lose. I don't want that style of awful to win. You can take my money. Just take it.
Dan, a win's a win. I mean, I had the Giants who were playing without a quarterback yesterday, and
you
they
must
won.
not be watching it. You must not be watching it.
I'm not watching it, but I'm winning, and I enjoy that. I mean,
Okay, but that's not the same thing. If you're not watching it, I'm saying don't make me
Do you
care
have to
about
watch
the game.
every game you gamble on?
I don't want to watch and root for Davis Mills or need the money
Ideally.
of Andy Dalton. I know. Am I in the minority? I must be in the
No,
minority.
Well,
I must be.
no, you're not. You're not. You're very much not in the minority. If I may plug another podcast on Le Batard and Friends Podcast Network, the Underdogs Podcast, they had a professional handicapper on who's like one of the very best. And he basically said, I think the stat that he gave was 1 in 1,000 football bettors make money, which seems impossible, but it's mainly because that most people don't bet on underdogs. Most people don't bet on underdogs after they lose, and most people don't want to bet on unders, and most people don't want to bet on things that don't seem obvious. But the whole point of setting a line is to get 50-50. And so you want to be on the side of very much the minority. You want to be on the side of, I believe yesterday, 84% of the money in the London game was on the Vikings. You want to be on the side of the 16 because if everyone else is losing money, you kind of have to fade the public. You have to go the opposite way and trust that something is right in this Vegas number.
And with the rise of prop betting, Vegas loves that. The books love that because nobody likes to take prop unders. When you say like they establish a line that should get 50-50 action, it's a fairly reasonable line when you look at the props, but 96% of the action is on the overs. They love it when you bet an over.
I don't know what makes me run away faster in gambling than when I'm checking in on the Indiana-Nebraska line, and I want to take Indiana. And then I see, wait a minute, this is going from 4 to 5 to 6 to 6.5. What's happening here? Who knows what? It's not me. I don't know anything other than I've got this wrong.
Let me tell you, you're in deep if you're recognizing the line movement on Indiana, Nebraska.
I'm in deep. I'm in deep.
Yeah, welcome, brother.
You're going to look at me and say, I'm in deep.
Yeah. I
Feels
recognize
good, right?
it.
Yeah.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah.
If you are checking in on that line over the course of several days and have noticed line movement on Indiana and
No,
Nebraska.
it was line movement right before the game.
Oh,
You,
wow.
Oh, some steam on that.
Yeah.
You, sir, are a fellow degen sicko like me.
Here is a text, and I want to get to something because people are feeling unsatisfied by how we've handled something. But here is a criticism that is headed Jessica's way. Jessica loses all Storm credibility, but not by not knowing who Jim Cantori is. If you don't know who Jim is, you aren't allowed to have deadly Storm opinions.
He's that guy.
The Michael Jordan of weathermen, man.
You stepping on your own line is so good.
That's a shocking thing to not be able to have opinions on just because I don't know who the Weather Channel's chief meteorologist is.
We are getting a lot of this over the weekend, and I have not seen anything other than this as reaction to what we did on Friday off of Tua. So perhaps you guys can enlighten me some, because I'm getting a lot of, we want to hear y'all eat crow for your horrid homer-filled takes about Tua on Friday and answer for the dumb, reckless shit you said just because you're desperate for a decent quarterback. Someone else writes in, I hope them Mafukas, that's how it's spelled, from Le Batard Show, see this. They sounded homerific and ridiculous on Tua.
Yeah, you guys did the amazing job of pissing off just about everyone on Friday because Dan had on a concussion expert, and then Billy and Stugotz kind of like not so much Billy, more so Stugotz, kind of did like what Golick did last week on Golick and Smetty, which is like giving the NFL the benefit of the doubt or giving the protocols the benefit of the doubt on head injuries.
I'm so confused at one thing in particular, how the NFLPA's messaging on this, it's projecting onto the NFL. It's the NFLPA's person.
They choose the doctors.
The NFLPA just terminated this person, and everyone's got result in hand. That person could have been dead on with their analysis of what happened to Tua, and the NFLPA still exercised a right. Right now, the reports are circulating that Tua passed 4 different concussion tests. But it still wasn't good enough for the NFLPA. But even on like some of the top line sports shows, people are having a go at the NFL. This is a collectively bargained position that the NFLPA has final say over, and everyone's blaming the NFL. including one of the NFLPA's members, by the way, in Tua.
Right, but you have to understand that when you collectively bargain something, that doesn't mean that it can't still be flawed. And when a flaw is apparent and it's a flaw that puts people's health and safety in jeopardy, it's worth revisiting. There's when you're bargaining a contract, you'll go section by section, and each side has to give a little or take a little to be able to agree on it to move on to the next thing. And so in this case, maybe this wasn't the solution that they wanted, or maybe they thought it was good enough, and now they're realizing it's not. And it's beneficial for both sides, the NFL and the NFLPA, to optically have a better policy in place, because there's been, even yesterday, there were notable concussion appearing injuries
100%.
that people like Tony Dungy was just tweeting about one in the Bucs game last night.
If I'm projecting that anything about that that's on the wrong side, I don't mean to. What I'm saying is, yes, they're recognizing there's something wrong with it, and the NFL is the one catching the heat for it. Everyone believes, if you polled sports fans right now, they have this big conspiracy theory and think it's the NFL.
Why would it be the players' fault?
Because it's the NFLPA that hired that person. It's the NFLPA that has the hiring and firing power.
At the center of this investigation is an independent doctor that the NFLPA hired. They hired that doctor.
Which is fine. That doctor can fail the NFLPA.
They are jointly approved by the NFL and the NFLPA.
But the NFLPA
jointly
has
approved.
Has final say.
Yeah, but the NFLPA has hiring and firing power. So it's essentially in terms of the power dynamic, the NFLPA has more power here.
No, the NFLPA does not have more power in the power
They're the one that
dynamic
just
over
fired.
I think they have equal power. I think the NFL could also appoint.
If they had equal power, they wouldn't need a union.
But
Tom, no, I mean equal power on this specific issue, on hiring and firing of these concussion
it just says jointly approved on the NFL website. I'm not sure. I'm assuming the NFL pays this.
Tom
doctor.
Pelissero reports, and I did not know this, that the team still has the final say on whether the guy can go back into the game or not, though, even if there's an independent, like if there's conflicting opinion or what. I did not know that. That was something that Tom Pelissero was reporting.
Yeah, well, if they clear him, the coach still is asked, hey, do you want to put Tua in? And the coach asks, did he pass the protocol? In this case, it seems as though yes, otherwise he would not have been out
No,
there.
I'm saying Pelissero is reporting that the team doctor gets the final say, even with the independent neurologist. That's what I read.
Wait, not if he's not cleared.
But if the independent neurologist doesn't clear him,
right, then it's over.
Like they could clear him, and the coach can still say, and the team doctors can still say, we're not comfortable with that.
Can we go back to the homerific part that we're being accused of? Because I did not. Yes, we went back into game analysis in doing the local hour after the Tua injury, and many people were indeed being Twitter doctors, because we've learned in the last 10 years, Stugotz. We have learned every time in the last, if I go back 10 years before the protocol, Brett Favre toughs that out. All that we got used to, all of a sudden we got used to, oh no, there were flags all over the place. When you throw Tua like that, anytime someone gets hit violently at quarterback now, I'm expecting flags. They're trying to change the way all this is done while it's happening, while neurologists on the sideline, in what can be imperfect diagnosis in 10 minutes, on the sidelines. Now they're going to err with caution, because now the new rule is fire everybody. If it looks bad on television, get them out of the game. We don't want to deal with this again. We just did $1 billion settlement. Let's not deal with this anymore. New rule. Anytime someone's wobbly, get them the hell out of the game. I don't want to do this again. I don't want to see paralyzed hands in with my sports. Let's go. Don't remind people what they're watching. Please stop reminding people what they're watching, which is everyone's getting CTE every damn weekend. And sometimes we do protocols, and sometimes we got a wobbly guy. And everyone out there, it's the deal. It's the deal. It's the deal with the devil. Everyone out there is brain damaging. Everyone, every weekend. Protocols just give you the illusion of safety. It's what we're watching. It's what we're enjoying. It's what we're gambling on. Their numbers. Their brain damage is built and baked into the sport. They paid $1 billion to make it go away, and it looked bad with Tua. He's one of the ones we care about. Oh, he's adorable. Why are his hands doing that? Please stop that. That's uncomfortable. What am I watching? Get it the fuck out of my life. I don't want to watch that. Get it out of here. Who's to blame? Doctors, Dolphins, neurologists, everybody. Everybody's to blame. Why? Because we're uncomfortable. But it's football. It is football. It's what it is. It can happen to any of them.
Yeah, just to circle back on something that you said earlier, I don't believe that fan was trying to say Mafukas. I think he was trying to say mafuckas.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I
he
think
spelled, he spelled it mafukas.
No, but he was trying to say mafuckas.
He was. Dan.
I give him
Okay.
efforts.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm just telling you how it was said. I understand
No,
people.
Mike's telling you how it's said. You told us how it
Yeah, well,
reads.
you
Yeah.
read
Yes.
mafukas,
Uh-huh.
and that's just not an insult.
Right.
I don't believe it to be. I believe this person intended to say mafuckas.
But let's go back to the criticism because I do want to understand the criticism a little better, which included criticizing the neuroscientist we had on just for platforming him. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, that is homerism because it was all Dolphins people. It was all Dolphins people. And I'm like, what are you trying to defend here?
I've been accused of being on both sides. I'm just kind of waiting. I think that this actually was a good thing in retrospect because now if you're wobbly, you're out. They're establishing that. We haven't really seen something like this. And the investigation is not done. They're still going to talk to Tua. You have reports out there that he passed multiple concussion tests, and yet I understand why the NFLPA is strongly saying that's still not good enough because look what happened. Chris Nowinski, look what happened. He felt comfortable diagnosing from watching on the television. He said 99.9%. Meanwhile, on the other end, you have Mike McDaniel saying he is 100% certain that Tua was not concussed. I do not have the answers. I am not a neurologist. I am totally fine waiting. And at the same time, I actually think that they're acting swiftly to ensure that what happened on Thursday night doesn't happen again because what happened on Sunday won't happen again because that person will not be back out there now. And I think we're still learning about it and still instituting new rules. And that's not going to go on like some cryon or some sexy lower third for you, but we're still trying to learn and navigate this thing. And that was something that we've never seen before.
I want a sexy lower third. I don't want we're still learning.
Well, but you don't have to have this hugely passionate take and taking one side. I understand. It looked like a concussion. It looked like every concussion I have ever seen.
But Mike, what else is there to learn? Like we've known what concussions are and what their symptoms are and how they can present for years now. And the NFL historically has ignored the science on it and has tried to pretend like everything's fine and everything's going to be fine. And that's why a lot of people are really pissed off at what happened because luckily Tua's okay and he went home and we're still waiting to find out what happens from here.
But
with
who
his
are they
career.
pissed at?
But
Like
what I
a
learned-
man got hurt. It looked
They
bad.
were pissed at the Dolphins for letting him go back.
But-
in the
I know,
game
but they're
against
pissed at
the
us.
Bills.
They're pissed at the NFL. They're not pissed at the NFLPA. A
you
guy
asked
got
me-
hurt. He went back and got a concussion test, and the doctor cleared him to play.
You asked what
kind
I've
of like
learned.
poison sports fan brain do you have to be like, well, this could be the NFLPA's fault because they jointly approved
Well,
independent.
I will say like this isn't like this is if this collectively bargained, then it's on the NFL and the union. I feel like you're just taking the union side here when the NFL is following their lead and wants to fix this too. Believe me, what happened on Thursday Night Football, the NFL does not want out there. I think what I learned, you asked me directly what I learned from this, is someone can pass multiple concussion tests and still be concussed. And even though an independent neurologist who's an expert in the field who's administering these tests to them clears somebody, they should not be out there. I did not know that prior to.
Well, yes, but I think that has been known for a while.
I don't think
and the
so.
dangers of concussions have been known for a while.
Oh,
and
I've
so
known that.
That's why it's
But I didn't know that you
frustrating.
could pass 4. I didn't know that you could pass multiple tests and be cleared by someone whose job it is to scrutinize your head injury and still be sent out there while still being obviously concussed. That was news to me.
NFL players have been saying for years that they've passed concussion protocols and still went back in the game when they knew something was off.
I'm happy you're so informed on it. I'm telling you, like, I am learning this. And I think a lot of meatheads like me are falling on that same line, where if you're administered multiple concussion tests and you pass and the neurologist puts you in the game,
I believe
you can
Mike's.
still be
I believe.
concussed.
I understand how Jessica is saying. No, the union is protecting players. That's their job. Let's not blame the union. But I understand what Mike's saying when he wonders, hey, the players union is making a big loud noise about how poorly this was handled by everybody but the players union, which also just fired a guy that they collectively bargained as the person who was going to do this study, and he had a lot of errors in his report. And the NFLPA is saying not our fault, even though it's like, no, it's kind of your fault also. And they're saying we don't want fault for that. This is the fault of others. We want to protect the players. Like, I don't believe the people listening to this, of all the places that blame is being put, I think very little is being put on the union being protecting the players, and not enough is being put on football. on what you've collectively bargained is weekly brain damage that we're now learning about every week, that you've settled certain things on, and we can now feel comfortable with the changes that have been made the last 10 years, all of us, to diagnose on television something that you've tried to make go away as a problem.
But football is an easy place for fans to blame. The NFL. It's an easy thing for them to blame. They're not going to look into the details of, the agreement between the league and the NFLPA. They're not going to get into that, all the nuanced stuff that's in there. They're not going to do that.
But
it's just, this is an NFL problem, we'll blame them.
But if you're disgusted by something, if something has made you sick to your stomach, who's to blame is exactly the place all of us go. All of us go.
And I think I'm surprised that more people aren't thinking of all of the things the NFL has done when it comes to head injuries over the last few decades, and denying that they exist, and the CTE settlements and the race norming, everything that has been done. The incentive always to put players back on the field, whether it's head injuries or ankle injuries or any other type of injury when they might be injured. I don't think that it is right to give them the benefit of the doubt on this. And so that's where, if you have to blame someone, if something did go wrong, and we're still waiting to find out, like Mike said, we don't know exactly what went wrong where, what if the protocols were followed correctly, what the independent neurologist said, et cetera, et cetera. While we are waiting to figure out the details of this specific incident, I don't think you give the NFL the benefit of the doubt on it.
Right, Stugotz, it's not the easy thing. It is the deserved thing for the NFL to catch any and all heat as a result of dealing with concussion issues. I think the one thing is, how safe is too safe, or how safe is appropriately safe? And the answer is, don't play the sport if you want to be appropriately safe. You mentioned the incident with the Bucs last night. Cameron Brate had a collision with Chris Godwin. This is from Greg Allman, who covers the team. He went down, got up, ran off on his own, came back in, even had a target, looked okay, later ruled to have a concussion. And so is basically, I think the standard might end up being, if you have any signs of a concussion, get out. But what even is that? What does that mean? And that's sort of the difficulty in it, is ultimately I think now the Players Association and the league are going to fall on the safe side. But how safe is appropriate?
I mean, you guys, what's interesting here is we're going to err on the side of caution. All right. A lot of 8-game, week 8. Bailey Zappe starting against Cooper Rush.
I'm in on that.
Yeah, it's a good game.
That might
Great
be the Super
matchup.
Bowl.
You might flex that.
Yeah, you said week 8.
You guys understand what I'm saying.
President's Day weekend.
The league.
What are you saying?
The league
it's a watered
is
down product.
The league is incentivized. The league is incentivized to get their stars out on the
Everyone's
field for
incentivized.
prime time
Yeah.
game.
The team,
The players
the league.
themselves are incentivized to go back on the field.
Which is why, honestly, and they're not of right mind, but there's no stronger force in getting that person out on. We've spoken to players about this than the players themselves, which is why you need to have the protections in place. And I do think that the NFLPA and the NFL are obviously working on it, because this has been a nightmare for them. Considering everything that, with the race norming and everything that Jess mentioned right now, I understand why the NFL is not getting the benefit of the doubt. I am a little slightly confused as to why the NFLPA is getting all the benefit of the doubt, apparently, when it comes to this, including getting to control the messaging.
Why McGruber? Like, why was that the choice on the flight back, do you think?
Who makes that decision, Tua or Mike McDaniel? Hey, we're going to fire up McGruber right
Apparently
now.
he put it on his iPhone. Tua did.
Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, he has spent his entire life proving the doubters wrong. And yesterday was no different. In a game that was really a microcosm of his entire career, going 20 of 28 for 236 yards, 1 touchdown, and coming up a couple of doinks short while leading his team to a 28-25 loss. Dan, just like that. And for a record 14th time on Weekend Observations, make no mistake about it, Andy Dalton is back.
Amazing.
The Red Rifle. The Demon Deacons did what the Demon Deacons do. The Deeks. By the way, if you looked up the meaning of 20 of 28 for 236 yards and 1 touchdown in the football dictionary, you would see a picture of a red rifle. I dare you to give me something anywhere in sports more boring to watch than Iowa football. The Hawkeyes, top 5 most boring things to watch in sports.
Wow, this is nice. Okay.
Amazing. Yes.
Iowa football has to be high up there.
Number 5, somehow, the Anaheim Angels.
It's unbelievable.
How is it possible?
It's not possible. It's insulting what you've said there, and yet you're totally right.
Thank you. Number 4, soccer.
Come on.
What do you mean?
Come on.
It's my list. Number 3, Wisconsin basketball.
Or football.
Number 2, Wisconsin football. Number 1, Dano, Iowa. Just anything Iowa. You agree?
Football.
I'm going to put
Iowa football.
The
Not
Bears and
everything,
Texans
not
are
anything.
on OLI right now. Those are just really difficult teams to watch. Bears,
Historically,
Demos,
though, I mean,
there's just certain games that like I don't want to look at it because stylistically it's going to be bad, and they're all wearing the same colors. That's my experience with all Big Ten.
yeah,
The Jets Steeler game was that for me yesterday.
that was a beauty.
Oh, I just thank God the Jaguars are a little bit more fun to watch this year because the AFC South, like someone needs to do something about that.
What do you want them to do?
Put it on the poll.
Do something
That's
about
a take. Should the AFC South be investigated because someone needs to do something about that?
Minnesota losing at home to Purdue. Classic PJ Fleck. The Gophers. Always he gets you excited. Little 4-0 start. Everyone's excited in Minnesota. Lose to Purdue. Row the boat. Headline. Lakers Big 3 rolls out new mantra. You get it? Go. I get LeBron and AD, but Pat Beverly too? By the way, won't be a problem for Russell Westbrook. He's been living by that mantra his entire life. Russ.
Yeah.
Listen, we might not think Patrick Beverly is part of the Lakers' Big 3, but I assure you, Patrick thinks he
Yes,
is.
He does. Yes.
Pat Bev. Sam Pittman looks like Arkansas. The entire state. He's the perfect coach for that school. He should never leave.
And they should never fire him, no matter how bad of a season he has. He is a flawless coach for Arkansas football.
Are you saying he looks more like Arkansas than anyone else does, like their regional identity? Or are you alleging right now, are you putting him at the top of the list anywhere in sports? Person who looks like the team that he is coaching, the region.
Is it him or Houston Nutt that looks more like Arkansas?
Oh, that's a good one.
Is Dana Holgerson Houston?
Where is
Or was he West Virginia?
He was West Virginia.
Yeah,
What,
that's
he was
pretty good.
West
Holgerson
Virginia.
was West Virginia.
Yeah.
Paul
Big
Chris,
win.
Paul Chris was also Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I thought he'd be there forever.
Very sad to see him go.
I am very sad to see him go.
Are you really, though?
Actually, no. He talked a fair amount of shit.
Is
whenever
that
he
just
beat
Illinois?
the
You
hell out of
lose to
Miami.
Illinois? You used? Is that what happened there? That's it?
Well, it's not just who coaches Illinois, who once also looked like Arkansas. Bielema.
Oh, wow.
I've enjoyed watching Bielema make the
Bielema's still just like going
Still
from
trying
Power
to
5
get
to
there.
Power
Yeah.
5.
Bouncing around.
And you can't lose to Bielema. if you're Chris.
I couldn't believe how big Paul Chris buyout was. Wisconsin are spending $16.5 million to fire Paul Chris. I think by the end of the year, there'll probably be about $300 million in buyouts for college football coaches.
Is
It's-
Alvarez still floating around there? Is he?
Barry
He's
Alvarez
always
is
lurking.
waiting
He's
to
going to
be-
coach the bowl game no
He's the
matter
coach,
what.
right? He gets the bowl
that-
game.
That is incredible. No, but they gave it to Jim Leonard. But Barry Alvarez should still coach the bowl game, so he gets a bonus. Is that a good job, Jess, Wisconsin?
I think so. I mean, their recruiting has been an issue the last few seasons, but they're in a pretty easy division right now that they should be able to win every year.
So that's a good job, especially because of the TV contract. Colorado, we were discussing here. I wanted to think Colorado was a good job because they won a national title when I was younger, but apparently Colorado, very bad job.
In the 90s.
Mel Tucker left because they weren't paying assistants enough money there.
Oh, but Mel Tucker, boy, he benefited with the big contract
Michigan
off of
State,
Walker's
yeah.
back, and now they
Always
don't look
sell
very
high.
good. Woo!
Made all that money just off beating Miami.
Well, it wasn't just that, but I mean,
They need another Kenneth Walker.
not representative data, I would say, the shortened pandemic seasons that Mel Tucker flashed.
Jess, is Wisconsin a good enough job that Urban Meyer would take the job if offered?
I'm so obsessed with Urban
Well, because he's
Meyer.
getting a job, and I'm wondering
Please
where he's going to
stop.
be next.
Just please stop.
Well, that's better than the Nebraska job, Wisconsin, right?
No, I think Nebraska wants to spend money.
Keep an eye on Oklahoma
Hmm.
when it comes to Urban. He's
I like
been
that.
hanging around a lot of those games.
Here come the Horned
Just
Frogs.
hired Brent
Yeah.
Venables.
No, that doesn't mean anything.
TCU's good.
Oh, game
I
day.
know they are.
You excited for game day?
You're very excited about that.
Are they going to TCU, Kansas?
I just
Yeah.
wanted to
Oh, let's
shout.
go.
Are
That's
they
a ranked-
really?
yeah, that's a ranked matchup.
Kansas.
And you saw who was the defensive coordinator for TCU beating Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley's brother.
What I heard was Mike Ryan watching missed field goals from Iowa State because he doesn't believe in Kansas. That's what I heard.
Bet the right side there. You did. Look at me, Kansas. I don't believe in you.
No,
It's
don't.
going to happen. This is impossible and not sustainable.
But who cares? It's Kansas.
I
They're
had the
5-0.
Jayhawks.
Flat track bullies. That's what you are.
I don't know who did it, but at some point somebody put up a billboard in Kansas quoting me, "It's the worst thing I've seen in Division I athletics." Someone put that billboard up in Kansas, the football program, and they fixed it. They're 5-0. They're ranked. Charlie Weiss went from Notre Dame to I'm going to fix it in Kansas. They've been so bad for so long, and now they're good. It's a miracle. It can't be celebrated enough.
It's amazing what happens when you hire a coach who has success in college football.
Isn't that what the buyouts are, though? Isn't that where the $300 million comes from?
No, I'm saying like they hired Charlie Weiss, who did poorly at Notre Dame, Les Miles, who had a whole lot of baggage, and then they finally were like, maybe we should hire someone who's won in the group of 5 and in the lower college football levels. Maybe they'll be able to translate that into winning in our program. And he has been so far.
Mm-hmm. You know who else is good? The Dukies. Nice little football team.
In the decade of the 2010s, Kansas had 21 football wins.
Say that again.
2 of them were,
In the
were
decade of the-
Texas, I think,
In the
too.
decade of the 2010s, they had 21 football wins.
You can all feel it in the air, though. The ACC Coastal's about to coastal.
Everyone's going to finish the year 4-4.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm starting to start boning up on your 6-way tiebreaker.
Big win for Mike Gundy and them boys. Mason Crosby has been the Packers kicker my entire life. Alabama's backups could win a national championship, a natty. I'm at the point of my marriage where I say stuff just to make sure Abby is listening. You there yet?
No.
You can't be there yet.
No.
Yeah, that'd be a bad sign if you were there yet.
What's an example?
I'm leaving you. That's a dicey one because I'm not certain she cares, to be
And
quite
then
honest with you.
Do you follow
Yeah.
through on that, or?
No, just
Well, she's not even hearing him, evidently.
right.
But if she does,
It's a dicey one again because if she hears me, I'm not certain she would care or say anything. I'm putting you on a monthly allowance, perhaps. That would get a reaction, yes.
Monthly allowance.
I mean,
What are you doing?
there's a lot of Zappos boxes outside my door every single day, Dan. You there yet?
No.
You'll be there.
Why would you threaten me with that?
I don't threaten anyone with it. What I do is I just say it just to make sure she's listening. That's all. Just to make sure she's following the conversation.
Why are you threatening me with your marriage?
We all get there, Dan. Dan, what'd I tell you about the Braves? Problem. Big problem.
Is that why you didn't buy in on the Mets all season long? You didn't. Your team is exciting. It's interesting. There's a trumpet player.
Yeah, the trumpet player. Jesus Christ.
They're fun.
Got a wild card series coming up. Who are they going to play? The Padres? The wild card's different this year. The whole thing's a mess. I mean, you lead the division all year. You have it set up perfectly with DeGrom in game 1 against the Braves. Scherzer game 2 against the Braves. You lose all 3.
You know, we for years, two guys have been saying they need to make changes to baseball. They've made too many. I can't keep up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the rules. I don't know how many teams make it. I don't know the format of the playoffs.
You're right.
There's been too many changes.
How
And
do
next
you
year the
not
bases
know?
are
You
bigger.
care about this stuff deeply.
There's too many changes.
I think I like this postseason though, with the buys.
Well, you like the teams. There's three wild card
Well,
teams.
I feel like the buys and having the wild card round now be 2 out of 3 with buys in there, rewards having a really good season. I think that this is the closest they've been to getting it right.
That's a great series, San Diego and the Mets.
But I also don't really care about the sport anymore, and I'm just giving you an outsider's perspective on, oh, this is something that I might pay attention to depending on the prices that I get on my favorite sports book, DraftKings.
Mets Pods. Here's the beauty of it. Those games are all in New York City, meaning they don't have to travel to San Diego, then back to New York. It's not 1-1-1. It's just best of 3 in New York City. Mets have a chance.
But who are the Phillies playing?
The Phillies play the worst of the division winners.
Oh.
I don't know who that would be. The Cardinals, maybe?
I mean, you the Dodgers are the best of the division winners.
Please
so the
don't ask me
Cardinals are very
open-ended
good.
baseball questions. I am
Goldschmidt is a
tapped.
Hall of Famer.
He is. He really is. Erling Haaland, Premier League goals record, collision course, also a Hall of Famer. J.J. Watt had a heart procedure done after doctors discovered his heart was colored red, white, and blue.
Isn't that what your heart should be colored?
I don't think so. Red, white, and blue?
I think it should.
I think if there's blue in your heart, there's a problem.
Your blood is blue.
White is the one. Is there a lot of white in the heart?
White blood cells.
WBCs.
What color do you think your heart should be?
Red.
Just red.
Pumping blood, yes. Like a beet red.
Well, JJ's is certainly red, white, and blue. That is not up for dispute.
Put it on the poll.
Put it up on the poll at LeBatard Show. Is everyone's heart red, white, and blue, or just JJ Watt's?
Georgia, survive in advance. No one fights to get back to 500 better than the Tennessee Titans. I mean, they scrap and claw just to get there.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does anyone fight to get 500 better and more than the Tennessee Titans? The Titans and the Colts have been playing that game for 10 years.
It's the AFC South, man. Look into it. No one wants to watch those teams play. No one. I thought for sure we were at least done with the Titans this year. Didn't have to worry about them. Now they're back. I hate it.
I love it. Congratulations to Kenny Pickett for completing all of his passes in his debut against the Jets. 25% were to the other team. But who's counting? The Jets continue to do the impossible. Winning while infuriating you at the same time is a gift. The R in Emerson Royal stands for red card. Rolled right off the tongue. Can't get sent off in the North London Derby, Dan. Dan, it's never happened before. Ever. Through 4 weeks. Prepare yourself. Every NFL team is still in the mix. How about that? Even the Texans. 0-3-1. Firmly entrenched in the mix. Want to know why? Jags lead that division at 2-2.
Oh, I thought you were going to credit the tie again, which is one of your long-running bits.
Listen, don't sleep on the tie. Okay? It could come back to help them or haunt them. But every team, no one's out of it. It's exciting, isn't it?
It's just ridiculous.
You don't seem excited.
It's why that sport always wins. You cannot explain to me how the end of the Vikings Saints game ends with the double doink. Get out of here.
I'm gonna rule one team out. Carolina Panthers. And I know that they won last week.
You can't do that.
I'm ruling them out.
You can rule the Texans out. You can rule the Texans
They
out.
have that pesky little tie.
Mike, the Panthers are 1-3. The Bucs are 2-2.
Yeah, I understand.
They're a game back.
I understand.
Right.
I understand.
Brady?
Who can you
Panthers
rule
are
out?
done.
Who can you? I feel like you can rule out the Seahawks too, even though Geno
cannot.
Smith
No,
is.
don't you dare do that.
He's better than Russ.
Football?
I mean, if the Rams lose tonight and the Niners win, every team in that division is 2-2.
You know who I'm upset at? The NFL for making me watch the Broncos this much. They have Thursday night football too. That team is so bad to
Against
watch.
the Colts, Mike.
Oh, the
Colts,
AFC South,
Broncos.
go away.
Put it on the poll.
like,
AFC South, go away. Yes or no?
I will aggressively not watch Thursday Night Football.
Will you aggressively not watch the Broncos?
Broncos, Colts?
Colts. The Colts and the Bears, I think, are the ones that haven't scored anything this season. Just nothing. Those are the worst. Like
Mike whispered to me, he's like, I have to watch it because it's football, and I'm here to tell you, Mike. You don't have to watch it.
You'll watch it.
Don't.
You'll
Don't.
watch it.
I think I'm already leaning one
We're
way
in a
in this
league.
game.
Whitney, we're in a pick league. You're in it now.
Yeah.
You'll watch it.
No, I'm going to put a pick in, and then I will aggressively not watch it.
You should stop talking about the league so much.
Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Will you aggressively not watch? Colts. It's such a bad game. Such a bad game.
In the mix, though. The New York Giants are the worst 3-1 team in NFL history. Robert Saleh, your team plays sloppy and undisciplined. Keep all the receipts you want, but just know this. I've got my eye on you.
Uh-oh.
I do.
What do you mean?
I'm watching him.
What do you mean?
Dan, undisciplined, sloppy, terrible penalties, bad calls at the end of a half.
The Jets have overachieved this year. The Jets,
Yeah.
if I'd given you 2-2 before the season, you would have taken it.
I would have. But I'm just saying, I got my eye on Robert Saleh.
All
Keep
right.
all the receipts you want. They're doing some bad things during these games. They had no business winning that game yesterday. They did it.
Or the one at the Browns.
Yeah.
They didn't have any business winning that one either.
Justin Herbert, do it in the playoffs. It seems like the Lions play that game every week. You can't stop Bailey Zappe. You can only hope to contain him. $7.90 the ticket. Thank you for everything. You lasted 15 years longer than I thought you would have. Hell of a run. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left. You're the